Everything begins with a reason that runs deeper than surface-level ambition. People who sustain success over long periods are not driven by excitement alone. They are anchored by meaning. When someone wakes up every day connected to a purpose bigger than comfort, distraction loses its grip. This is the invisible force behind consistency. It is not about feeling motivated every day. It is about knowing why you cannot afford to quit. Look closely at those who rise in unfamiliar environments, who build something from nothing, who carry responsibility far beyond themselves. Their drive is rarely about personal gain alone. It is about family, legacy, dignity, and the refusal to go back to where they started. That kind of reason does not fade when things get difficult. It sharpens. It becomes louder in moments of doubt. While others ask whether the effort is worth it, they already have the answer because their why was defined long before the struggle began. A deep reason creates clarity, and clarity removes hesitation. When you are clear about why you are doing something, you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop looking for shortcuts. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. Action becomes a natural extension of belief. This is why two people can face the same obstacle and respond completely differently. One sees inconvenience, the other sees necessity. One hesitates, the other moves. The difference is not skill, it is purpose. There is also something powerful about a why that is not self-centered. When your actions are tied to something beyond your own comfort, your resilience expands. You become willing to endure more, learn more, and push further than you thought possible. This is where true discipline is born. Not from force, not from external pressure, but from internal alignment. You are no longer chasing motivation because your reason has already made the decision for you. People often misunderstand success as a result of strategy alone. They focus on tactics, habits, and productivity systems. Those things matter, but they are not the starting point. Without a strong reason behind them, they eventually collapse. A routine without purpose becomes exhausting. A goal without meaning becomes empty. But when your why is strong, even the simplest actions feel significant because they are connected to something larger. There is also a quiet confidence that comes from knowing your reason. You do not need constant validation. You do not need everyone to understand your journey. You are not easily distracted by comparison because your path is not defined by others. This allows you to stay focused when the noise gets loud. It allows you to stay steady when progress feels slow. You are not driven by applause, you are guided by intention. And over time, this compounds in ways most people overlook. Small actions repeated with deep purpose create momentum. Momentum builds belief. Belief strengthens identity. You no longer see yourself as someone trying to succeed. You see yourself as someone who cannot turn back. That shift changes everything, because when your identity is aligned with your purpose, giving up is no longer an option worth considering. So the question is not what you want to achieve, it is why it matters at a level that cannot be shaken. Because once that answer is clear, everything else begins to fall into place. Pressure is often misunderstood as something to escape, something heavy that slows you down or breaks you apart. But in reality, pressure is not the enemy. It is a signal. It is proof that something meaningful is at stake. The people who rise above the rest are not the ones who avoid pressure. They are the ones who reinterpret it. They see it not as a burden, but as a rare opportunity to grow into someone stronger than they were yesterday. When expectations are placed on you, it means someone believes you are capable of more. When responsibility finds you, it means you are trusted to carry weight that others cannot. Most people try to run from that feeling because it exposes their limits, but those who succeed lean into it. They understand that pressure reveals potential. It forces focus. It strips away distractions and demands that you show up fully, not partially. Think about moments in life where everything feels intense, where the stakes are high and the margin for error is small. That intensity sharpens your thinking. It forces you to prioritize what truly matters. Under pressure, you don't have the luxury of wasting time on things that don't serve your goal. This is why pressure, when embraced, becomes one of the most powerful tools for growth. It creates urgency, and urgency drives action. There is also a shift that happens when you stop seeing pressure as something negative. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me, you begin asking, what is this trying to make of me? That question changes your entire mindset. You move from resistance to curiosity, from fear to focus. You begin to see challenges as training, not punishment. Every difficult situation becomes a chance to expand your capacity. People who achieve extraordinary results often carry immense pressure, but they don't complain about it. They understand that pressure and opportunity are connected. The greater the opportunity, the greater the pressure that comes with it. You cannot separate the two. If you want growth, if you want impact, if you want to build something meaningful, you must be willing to carry the weight that comes with it. There is also a level of ownership that transforms pressure into privilege. When you take full responsibility for your path, pressure stops feeling imposed and starts feeling chosen. You are no longer a victim of circumstances. You are an active participant in your own journey. This mindset gives you control. It reminds you that you are not being pushed by life, you are being shaped by it. Over time, this perspective builds resilience. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. What once caused stress becomes a source of strength. You develop the ability to stay calm in situations that would shake others, not because you are immune to difficulty, but because you have trained yourself to see it differently. You have learned that pressure is temporary, but the growth it creates is permanent. And when you begin to see pressure as a privilege, you stop waiting for easy paths. You stop wishing for less responsibility. Instead, you start seeking environments that challenge you, situations that stretch you, opportunities that demand more from you, because deep down, you understand that your potential is only revealed when you are pushed beyond what is comfortable. Pressure is not there to break you. It is there to build you into someone capable of handling greater things. The question is not whether you will face pressure, because you will. The question is whether you will shrink from it or rise because of it. Most people are not held back by lack of ability. They are held back by the need for immediate comfort. The desire to feel good now often overrides the commitment to become better later. This is where the real divide begins. Those who build lasting success learn to shift their focus beyond the present moment. They stop asking what feels easy today and start asking what will matter tomorrow. Short-term thinking is seductive because it offers quick relief. It promises instant satisfaction, minimal effort, and fast results. But it comes at a cost that is not always visible in the moment. Every time comfort is chosen over growth, a small opportunity is lost. These moments accumulate quietly. Over time, they create a gap between where someone is and where they could have been. The danger is not in one decision. It is in the pattern those decisions create. Long-term thinking requires a different kind of discipline. It demands patience in a world that rewards speed. It asks you to invest effort without immediate validation. This is uncomfortable because the results are not instant. There is no applause in the early stages, no visible proof that the effort is working. But this is exactly where the advantage lies. Most people are unwilling to stay committed without quick feedback, which creates space for those who are willing to endure the delay. When you begin to think long-term, your relationship with time changes. You stop seeing time as something to spend and start seeing it as something to invest. Every action becomes a building block. Every habit becomes a contribution to a larger outcome. This mindset shifts your focus from outcomes to process. You are no longer chasing quick wins. You are building systems that produce results consistently over time. There is also a deeper level of clarity that comes with long-term thinking. Decisions become easier because they are filtered through a larger vision. Instead of reacting to every opportunity or distraction, you evaluate whether it aligns with where you want to be in the future. This reduces noise. It protects your energy. It keeps you moving in a direction that is intentional rather than impulsive. Comfort, on the other hand, has a way of disguising itself as harmless. It tells you that one delay will not matter, that one shortcut is acceptable, that one distraction is deserved. Comfort, when chosen repeatedly, becomes a habit, and habits shape identity. Over time, the person who consistently chooses comfort becomes someone who avoids challenge, not because they lack potential, but because they have trained themselves to prioritize ease over growth. Those who succeed long-term understand that discomfort is not something to fear, it is something to use. They lean into it because they know it is temporary. They recognize that the pain of discipline is far lighter than the regret of missed potential. This awareness allows them to make decisions that may feel difficult now, but create freedom later. There's also a compounding effect that cannot be ignored. Small, consistent actions taken over a long period create results that seem disproportionate to the effort. This is the power of thinking beyond the present moment. While others are focused on immediate rewards, long-term thinkers are building momentum. And once momentum takes hold, progress accelerates in ways that are difficult to stop. The shift from short-term comfort to long-term thinking is not about sacrificing happiness, it is about redefining it. True satisfaction does not come from ease, it comes from progress. It comes from knowing that each day, each action, each decision is moving you closer to something meaningful. And when that becomes your focus, comfort no longer controls you. It becomes something you choose strategically rather than something you depend on. The world does not reward those who resist change. It rewards those who learn how to move with it. Adaptability is not just a useful skill, it is a defining advantage in an environment that never stays the same. Circumstances shift, expectations evolve, and new challenges appear without warning. Those who wait for stability often fall behind, while those who adjust quickly find ways to move forward regardless of what changes around them. Adaptability begins with mindset. It is the willingness to accept that the path will not always go as planned. Instead of clinging to one rigid idea of how things should be, adaptable individuals stay open to how things could be. This openness allows them to respond instead of react. They do not waste energy resisting reality. They use that energy to understand it, navigate it, and find opportunity within it. When people enter unfamiliar situations, there is often discomfort. New environments challenge identity, confidence, and privitki. Many interpret this discomfort as a sign that something is wrong, but those who are adaptable see it differently. They recognize discomfort as a natural part of growth. It signals that they are stretching beyond what is known. Instead of retreating, they lean in and begin to learn. Learning becomes a constant process. Adaptable individuals do not assume they already know enough. They observe, ask questions, and adjust their approach based on feedback. This creates a cycle of improvement that is continuous. Every mistake becomes information. Every challenge becomes training. Over time, this builds a level of competence that is difficult to match because it is rooted in real experience rather than theory. There is also a level of resilience that comes with adaptability. When plans fail, adaptable people do not collapse. They recalibrate. They understand that failure is not the end of the path, it is a redirection. This ability to shift without losing momentum is what keeps them progressing while others remain stuck trying to fix what can no longer be changed.
Control plays an important role here. Not control over external events because that is limited, but control over response. Adaptable individuals focus on what they can influence. They adjust their actions, refine their strategies, and stay grounded in what is within their reach. This prevents frustration from taking over. It keeps their attention on movement rather than resistance. There is also a quiet confidence that develops when adaptability becomes part of identity. You begin to trust yourself in uncertain situations. You no longer need everything to be predictable before you act. You know that even if conditions change, you will find a way to respond. This confidence is not based on certainty, it is based on capability. In fast-changing environments, rigidity becomes a liability. What worked yesterday may not work today. Those who are overly attached to past success often struggle to evolve. Adaptable individuals avoid this trap because they are not defined by one way of doing things. They are defined by their ability to keep learning, keep adjusting, and keep moving forward. This is what turns adaptability into a superpower. It allows you to operate effectively in uncertainty. It gives you the freedom to explore new paths without fear of being lost. It transforms obstacles into opportunities for growth. And over time, it creates an edge that is not easily replicated because it is built on the ability to evolve rather than the need to stay the same. A discipline is often misunderstood as something you force yourself to do, a constant battle between what you should do and what you feel like doing. But the strongest form of discipline does not come from force, it comes from identity. It comes from how you see yourself and what you believe you stand for. When your actions align with your identity, discipline stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like consistency. Every decision you make is a reflection of who you believe you are. If you see yourself as someone who avoids difficulty, your choices will naturally move toward comfort. If you see yourself as someone who follows through, who shows up regardless of how you feel, your actions will follow that belief. This is why identity is so powerful. It operates beneath the surface, shaping behavior without the need for constant motivation. Most people try to build discipline from the outside in. They focus on rules, schedules, and systems. While these can help, they are not sustainable on their own. When challenges arise, when energy is low, when distractions are strong, external structures begin to break. But when discipline is rooted in identity, it becomes internal. It becomes part of who you are, not just something you are trying to do. There is a shift that happens when you stop saying, I need to be disciplined, and start saying, I am disciplined. That shift may seem small, but it changes everything. It creates a standard. And once a standard is set, your behavior begins to rise to meet it. You no longer negotiate with yourself about whether to act because the decision has already been made at the identity level. Identity also creates consistency over time. Motivation comes and goes. Feelings change. Circumstances are unpredictable. But identity remains stable when it is reinforced through repeated action. Each time you follow through, you strengthen that identity. Each time you choose alignment over comfort, you prove to yourself that this is who you are. Over time, this builds trust. And self-trust is one of the most powerful drivers of discipline. There is also a sense of pride that comes with living in alignment with your identity. Not pride in the sense of ego, but pride in integrity. You begin to value the person you are becoming. This makes it easier to maintain standards even when no one is watching.
You are not performing for others, you are honoring your own expectations. People who struggle with discipline often believe they lack willpower. In reality, they lack clarity about who they want to be. Without that clarity, decisions become reactive. They are influenced by mood, environment, and immediate desire. But when identity is clear, decisions become intentional. They are guided by a larger vision rather than temporary feelings. There is also a compounding effect. Small actions repeated consistently begin to reinforce identity at a deeper level. Waking up early, staying committed to learning, following through on promises, all of these actions send a message to your mind. They say, this is who you are. And once that belief is established, it becomes easier to maintain because it no longer feels optional. Discipline built on identity is not rigid, it is resilient. It adapts when needed, but it does not disappear. It allows for growth without losing direction. It creates a foundation that supports long-term progress rather than short bursts of effort. In the end, discipline is not about controlling yourself. It is about understanding yourself. It is about defining who you are at your core, and then aligning your actions with that definition until it becomes natural, until it becomes automatic, until it becomes something you no longer question because it is simply part of you. Success is often portrayed as a solitary journey, a race where individuals compete, outperform, and outshine everyone around them. But the reality is far more connected. The most sustainable and meaningful success is rarely built alone. It is built through relationships, shared knowledge, and collective growth. Community is not a weakness in the pursuit of excellence. It is a multiplier. When people focus only on competition, their mindset becomes limited. They see others as obstacles rather than resources. Every interaction is filtered through comparison. This creates isolation. It narrows perspective. It turns progress into a constant battle of proving worth instead of improving value. While competition can push performance in the short term, it often lacks the depth needed for long-term growth. Community shifts that perspective. It replaces comparison with collaboration. Instead of asking, how do I beat others, the question becomes, how do we grow together? This shift opens doors that competition alone cannot. Knowledge is shared more freely. Opportunities are created through connection. Support becomes available in moments of difficulty. Growth accelerates because it is no longer dependent on one person's effort alone. There is also a level of strength that comes from belonging. When individuals are part of a supportive network, they are more likely to take risks, explore new ideas, and push beyond their limits. They know they are not alone. This reduces fear of failure and increases willingness to act. Confidence grows not just from personal ability, but from the collective energy of those around them. Community also creates accountability in a way that competition cannot. In a competitive environment, the focus is on winning. In a community, the focus is on showing up. People hold each other to higher standards not out of rivalry, but out of respect. This kind of accountability is more sustainable because it is rooted in shared values rather than external pressure. Another powerful aspect of community is diversity of thought. When people from different backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives come together, they create a richer understanding of challenges and solutions. This leads to better decisions, more creative ideas, and stronger outcomes. Competition often limits perspective because it encourages individuals to guard their knowledge. Community expands it because it encourages sharing. There is also a long-term advantage in building relationships rather than just results. Skills can open doors, but relationships keep them open. People who invest in community build networks of trust. Over time, these networks become sources of opportunity, mentorship, and collaboration. This creates a foundation that supports continuous growth, even when circumstances change. It is important to understand that community does not eliminate competition entirely. There will always be moments where performance is measured and compared, but when the foundation is community, competition becomes healthier. It becomes a way to challenge each other rather than undermine each other. It pushes individuals to improve while still maintaining connection. Those who prioritize community understand that success is not a limited resource. One person's growth does not take away from another's. In fact, it often contributes to it. When people share knowledge, support each other, and celebrate progress together, they create an environment where everyone has the chance to rise. Choosing community over competition is not about avoiding ambition. It is about expanding it. It is about recognizing that true progress is not just about how far you go alone, but how many people you bring with you and how much stronger you all become together.